Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to another early access draft of March of the Machine. Thank you very much to Wizards of the Coast for providing me with this early access account. Without further ado, let's get into the draft, and it is worth noting, it is now past midnight, very late at night, which means we are swapping over to quick drafts so that the draft queues will keep firing during the early access event. So we're now drafting against bots, and we've got all the time in the world to read through the cards and make our decision, but I'll try to keep it still pretty brisk, pretty quick for you all. For our pick one, pack one, I'm definitely going to scoop up Invasion of Segovia. This is a great card for the blue-red convoke strategy, because it's going to provide us with two 1/1 creatures to convoke with, and two 1/1 creatures to attack the battle with. I think any battles that produce creatures are just pretty inherently powerful, because they're going to help provide us with ways to damage the battles and get them to flip a little faster. So take Invasion of Segovia here, be pretty happy with it. There's definitely other powerful cards in the pack. This early in the format, cards that I've seen a few times that have seemed really strong are Volcanic Spite, Red's incredible common removal spell, 2 mana for 3 to any target pretty much, and you can put a card from your hand on bottom of your library to draw a card. Merciless Repurposing is a great slow removal spell in black. It's instant speed, exiles anything, but it is 6 mana, but you also incubate 3, so you get a 3/3 out of it over time as well. That shows off the incubate mechanic, so incubate 3 means make this incubator token with 3 counters on it, then later you have to spend 2 mana to flip that incubator to turn it into a Phyrexian that will be a 3/3, because it's got 3+1/+1 counters, so love the removal spells in this pack between Spite and Repurposing. Halo Forger is also a great way to be able to recast something from your grave late game, but I do quite like the rare, so we're just going to roll with that, take an Invasion of Segovia, and see what we get from there. Ooh, pack 1, pick 2. We might get to play with a companion today from the Multiverse Legends card slot. So for those who don't know, there is one battle in every pack, there's one rare in every pack, and there is one Multiverse Legend in every pack that is an iconic reprint of a powerful or iconic legend from Magic's history, and in this pack, it's Keruga the Macro Sage. So this is a companion, so if every card in our deck is mana value 3 or greater, then Keruga just sits there in the command zone, basically, allowing us to spend 3 mana to put it into our hand at sorcery speed at a later time. So we have a great value play, we have access to that in every single game guaranteed, and yeah, I like Keruga the Macro Sage a lot here. Don't even have to be green-blue for it. Because of that hybrid mana cost, we could be blue-red or blue-white or any color pair with blue or green and cast it for just mono-colored, just double blue or double green, either one. So we'll take Keruga here. I've liked Invasion of Pyrulia quite a bit because it's basically a solid sorcery when it hits the board, scrying 3, drawing a land or a double-faced card, and then if you manage to flip the battle later, that's just the icing on the cake. So I've liked the Invasion of Pyrulia quite a bit. The Connoisseur has been a bit slow. It does get bigger the more transformed incubator tokens you have, or transformed battle cards you have, stuff like that. Early on, when I was looking over the set list and when I was listening to different limited podcasts like Lords of Limited, I wasn't that high on Skittering Surveyor, but as the format has played out a little bit over the early access event after I've played a couple drafts, I'm actually a really big fan of Skittering Surveyor as long as you're not a really aggressive deck. Because I think with the amount of, again, Multiverse Legends and just bomb rares and powerful late game stuff, the Surveyors being able to fix your mana and guarantee more land drops have still been incredible in this format, so pretty high on the Surveyor as well. So those are my favorite cards from this pack, but we'll definitely go with Keruga, potentially trying to play a companion here. For pack 1, pick 3, we've got some options in blue or green, and I think those are the main options that I'm interested in. We have Storm the Seed Core as kind of a finisher, giving the board Vigilance Trample and spreading 4 counters wherever we want them. Really powerful game ender, because we could just stack 4 counters on one creature and attack with, our 3/3 now attacking as a 7/7 Vigilance Trample, or we could put like 1 counter on all of our creatures to really spread things wide, so that's really powerful. There's also Kami of Whispered Hopes, which seems great for a deck that has nothing but 3 mana or more cards. This actually seems, I think, stronger than Storm the Seed Core, because I think this would be great if you can curve out with a lot of 2 mana creatures and make sure you have a ton of creatures on board. That's hard to do with Keruga because we won't have 2 mana creatures in our deck ideally. So instead I'm going to go for Kami of Whispered Hopes here because it's going to help ramp us into bigger cards later in the game, and if we have any +1/+1 counter synergies, we are doubling them up with the other ability of the card, so I'll go for Kami of Whispered Hopes here. For other powerful cards, Squadron's great if you can convoke a lot, as is Temporal Cleansing, but again, if our curve starts at 3 mana, we certainly can't convoke a lot. And then there's Rayav, that's in completely different colors than we're in, but I think there's a lot of solid, cheap equipment in the format. There's no main format equipment build-arounds, but in the Multiverse Legends, if you can pick up a Rayav, there's enough cheap, powerful red and white equipment that you can do some really disgusting things with this. There's like a 1 mana equipment that takes 2 mana to give something +1/+0 menace, and every time it hits your opponent, you get a treasure. So if you play that turn 1, then play Rayav turn 2, equip Rayav the turn after, you're attacking with a 3/2 menace double strike that makes a treasure every time it damages your opponent, which hits them for 6 and gives you 2 treasures off the first swing. So Rayav, actually a really, really good build around in the format. It's like the secret red-white equipment archetype because there's no main set red-white equipment build arounds, but there certainly are in the Multiverse Legends some cards like Rayav. For pack 1, pick 4 here, I am a huge fan of Cosmic Hunger, but I can't play that with Karuga in the companion slot because it is a 2 mana value spell, so it's too cheap. But I do like this a lot in the format. I think this is an excellent removal spell in green. Any one of your creatures deals damage equal to its power to any opposing threat, including battles, so this can flip one of your battles without having to get through a large, stalled out board state. So this has just been really flexible and a great instant overall. So loved the Cosmic Hunger. Instead here, I might just take a Blossoming Sands. I think I could take tap lands pretty highly because we're not going to be doing anything turn 1 and turn 2, and they're going to help splash any other bomb rares that we happen to open up. And again, there are a lot of powerful rares and a lot of uncommons in every pack as well, with all the special stuff going on in the format with battles and Multiverse Legends and all of that. So I like Blossoming Sands being open to a white splash here. We could also take Tidal Terror. It's going to be fine, because it's kind of like a 2-drop and a 6-drop, where if we just need to draw more lands, we can cycle it away. So it works pretty well with Karuga in that sense, where it makes sure that we don't flood out and we don't mana screw. But I think I'd rather be more open to splashing first. Plus those cyclers, at least in the premier drafts, have tended to go pretty late in the draft pods, and we can find them later on. Pack 1, pick 5, we've got a ton of options now. We have Inga Runize for the 4-mana Scry 3, potentially draw 3 cards when she dies. We've got War Historian as a 3/3 reach for 3, which is a solid blocker, and it attacks battles really well because it'll attack as though it has Indestructible. Then we have Mutagen Connoisseur. Herd Beast is also okay. I think I might take Mutagen Connoisseur here. It's pretty slow, but now I'm starting to get pretty focused up on green-blue. Every card we have so far is in that archetype and decent for it. We already have 1 battle to flip, and I can take some other transform permanents. If you can make this at least 1 power, it's pretty good because it's going to block really well with 5 toughness, and if you can just chip away 1 damage a turn with vigilance at your opposing battles, you're still getting some value. So I actually do like the Connoisseur once we know that we're in green-blue, but I don't see it as a huge reason to like immediately jump into the color pair, if that makes any sense. All right, I don't love Cryptomancer here because it is less than 3 mana value, and I don't love Squadron because we're going to have a little bit of a hard time convoking, although Invasion of Segovia does help with that potentially. I'll just take the Dismal Backwater to potentially splash in some black. Now we have a Jungle Hollow to also potentially splash in some black. Alternatively, we have a Tidal Terror, again flexible with the Karuga, which is nice. I'd rather just keep taking a bunch of duels. Serpent Blade Assailant also seems okay, but if our curve starts at 3 mana, we're not getting a lot of value out of the backup ability. This will often just be a 3 mana 3/2 Death Touch, not really spreading that +1/+1 counter along, so I'll take Jungle Hollow here. If I weren't really excited about playing Karuga, if I weren't really committed to trying to play a companion deck, Thalia would be an interesting pickup here to maybe just pivot into a white aggro deck, because I think Thalia is great for just a quick, aggressive white deck. And Thalia would work excellently with Quende. Quende would give Thalia double strike, which is nuts. Nothing super playable here. I guess Halo Hopper would be okay. I can't play Moment of Truth, it is too cheap. But I could play Knight of the New Coalition or Halo Hopper is the most exciting cards for this deck, I think. Really don't think Halo Hopper is going to be where it's at without a lot of convokes. I'll just take 2 2/2s with Vigilance for 4 mana. That seems fine. in case I splash in some white off Blossoming Sands, I guess. Blighted Burgeoning gives us more mana ramp and more mana fixing to play more colors and more bombs. So I like that a good bit. It also gives us a creature. When we play it, we just have to flip the creature later over time, so I think that's pretty good mana ramp, and I'll scoop that up here. Alternatively, we could take Rada if I'm trying to play 5-color. We could get a really high domain for that, but none of the tap lands in this format actually have the basic land types to help with domain, so it's definitely harder to trigger than it was in Dominar United, so a little less exciting. We'll take Blighted Burgeoning for more mana ramp, and we did wheel the Mutagen Connoisseur, so just green-blue transforming permanence looks decently open. Flywheel Racer isn't the best mana fixing ever, and it's also too cheap for our deck if we're playing Karuga. But in the future, this is good mana fixing if you have a ton of cheap creatures. If you don't have a lot of cheap creatures, though, it's not going to give you any mana because you have to crew it to get mana out of it. So that is important to keep in mind on that mana fixing. Pick 11, Rayav is still here, and I think Seed of Hope is basically unplayable, and all of these cards are too cheap to put in our deck anyway, so I'll take Rayav. If something really weird happens and I wheel the Quende or the Thalia as well, then we might completely pivot into that. Alright, the black and green cards are too cheap to use with Karuga. The white card's good if you have a ton of targeted removal, but we don't have any right now, so I'll just take another 2/2/2s for 4 mana kind of card. Alright, I think Ingarunize is a decent addition to this deck in the main 2 colors without splashing anything. I'll just take Daxos again, speculatively with the Rayav. Alright, last pick Thalia. This is, again, the early access event. Thank you again to Wizards of the Coast for providing me with the account. So the bots, I don't think they've been programmed completely yet because that's a literal pick 15 Thalia. But that could be a reason, Daxos, Rayav, and Thalia, to go red-white aggro instead. And I have 2 Knight of the New Coalition to go with that. Decent to keep that in mind, I think. Do we have anything good for blue-green Karuga? Oh yeah, Invasion of Lorwyn's great. 6 mana to destroy a non-elf with power 6 or less, basically. And then if we beat the battle, then we're going to get like a 6/6 or 7/7. That's actually really good for like the slow, grindy Karuga value deck. But there's also Volcanic Spite for the red-white aggro, or Mirror Shield Hoplite for that with a bunch of backup abilities. It's pretty good. Also, if we go red-white, we could try to splash in double black Rankle and Torbrin. I don't think we're trying to splash this into our Karuga deck, though. I think I still want to stay on the Karuga deck and take the excellent removal spell Battle that is Invasion of Lorwyn. We've got 2 black sources splashed in already with Backwater and Jungle Hollow. Pack 2, pick 2 now. We have a Converter Beast. 4 mana for a 0/1 that incubates 5. That leaves a gigantic incubator token to flip over. Or Eyes of Gataxias, which draws us a card and leaves a 3/3 to incubate, which is nice. I'm going to go for the cheaper card, the Eyes of Gataxias, and try to wheel the Converter Beast. But those are the on-color cards that are 3 mana or more, so I'm going to go for one of those. Don't love any of the red-white aggro cards, although Angelic Intervention, pretty busted combat trick, and Fearless Scald, that double strike out of nowhere off of the backup can be big. But I think I'm getting decent enough Karuga stuff to stick to that and have a fun time with the deck that we were already planning on playing. And now I can take Atris, Oracle of Half-Truths. 4 mana for a 3/2 menace. Opponent looks at the top 3 cards of our library, puts some of them in a face-down pile and some in a face-up pile, and we put one of those piles into our hand. So that worst 4 mana 3/2 draw card. 4 mana 3/2 menace draw card. Pretty good deal. Yeah, we're definitely splashing black. We'll take the Atris here, although Final Flourish would be solid removal, which we don't have much of. We only have Invasion right now. But let's take this Atris. Ooh, Aurelia the War Leader. Wow, these quick drafts are going to be really, really explosive games. So kind of glad I got a bunch of Premier drafts out of the way, because I think these quick drafts are going to be really, really, really bomb heavy right now since the bots aren't ready for the format. But we'll see. We'll see. I think I'm only doing the 1 quick draft. I think I recorded enough Premier drafts to hit daily videos until one more day. We'll do this 1 quick draft video, and then the set will come out. So not that interested in Aurelia just because of the really difficult double red, double white cost for this deck. We've got Tandem Takedown, which is an excellent green removal spell that is very similar to the 2-mana one I was talking about, where we can use this to kill anything we want, a creature, a planeswalker, or a battle, which is really, really nice. So I think I like taking Tandem Takedown here, but Invasion of Muruganda is also pretty exciting. Nice battle to try to flip. I'm going to take the Tandem Takedown, hopefully wheel the Ancient. If we're incredibly lucky, we can wheel the Invasion of Muruganda. But love this at instant speed. Basically 2 copies of that 2-mana removal spell we were talking about. But they have to target the same card. You're only shooting 1 creature down. Now we have Renata from the Multiverse Legends. Great card, solid, consistent value here. All of our creatures come to play with +1/+1 counters now. Don't mind if I do. Ooh, pack 2, pick number 6, Emoti, Celebrant of Bounty. 5 mana for a 3/1 with Cascade, so we're going to cast one of our 3 or 4 mana spells from our library for free after we cast Emoti, and if we are ramping into some big spells, all of our spells with mana value 6 or less will also cascade into a cheaper spell out of our library. That just means we'll keep flipping cards till we find a cheaper one, and we'll cast that for free as well. So 5 mana for a 3/1 is not very good, but you cascade when you cast her. So 5 mana for a 3/1 and cast another spell, usually already worth it up front. You don't need to get too many spells with mana value 6 or better for Emoti to be decent. So I'm going to take Emoti here and hope for the best. Maybe we can get a Copper Host Crusher or something in here, have a really big top-end card to cascade with. I do like Thornwood Falls a lot in this deck, but Timberland Ancient looks really, really exciting because, again, it's going to be basically a 2-mana spell to grab a forest from our deck and put it in our hand if we need it, and it's now going to be a 6-mana spell to trigger Emoti if we draw it late game. Well, well, well. We can take a Furtive Analyst, but I can also take Atraxa, Praetor's Voice, with 1 Blossoming Sands as my only white source. 2 black sources between Backwater and Jungle Hollow. I'm going to take it and just hope I find a ton of copies of Skittering Surveyor, because a 4-mana Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink, kind of crazy. Kind of nasty if we can cast that. Right, pick 9 now. There's a Phyrexian Archivist or a Fertilid's Favor. I think I'd rather take Fertilid's Favor here. Just 1 instant speed mana ramp card. Mana fixes us as well to find the white source for Atraxa, and it's a combat trick at the same time, so it's fine when you really need the fixing. Nothing here costs 3 or more mana, so we can't play any of it in this deck, so we'll take the best card for that Boros aggro deck we have in the sideboard. Just cuz, might as well build a second deck for fun. Pack 2, pick 11. Rampaging Geoderm is actually kind of sweet here, but we don't have any red sources, so it'd be kind of hard to cast. But I do have 2 good battles. That's a little bit low on battles. Yeah, not actually that exciting. I guess I'd take the Halo Charge Scab, but I'd prefer not to have to play it. It's a 5-mana 4/4 that mills everybody 2. Can put an instant sorcerer battle from our grave on top of our library if we want to do that instead of drawing blind, which is okay, but it's not like a 2-for-1 value spell or anything crazy. I'll take another Timberland Ancient here, and I think they must have just not programmed the Multiverse Legends into the quick draft order yet, because I don't think the other cards in the pack are that unreasonable to be going this late, but I think the bots have just not been taking the Multiverse Legends kind of like at all. That might be what's going on here. Is that they just don't know when to take those. Yeah, I mean, that's the last pick, Tetsuko Umezawa. Although Tetsuko Umezawa, nowhere near as good as the Aurelia. All right, pack 3, pick 1. We did find a Convoke card that's strong enough that I'm going to put it in this deck, even though we're not going to have a ton of cheap creatures to Convoke with, because that's a 6/6 Trample Ward 2 at worst. If we manage to tap a bunch of creatures to Convoke it, it's going to get even bigger. If you tap 7 creatures to play this, it's a 20/20 with Trample and Ward 2. So yeah, just the more you Convoke it, the better. But even Convoking it a little bit, getting just an 8/8 Trample Ward 2 by Convoking 1 creature is already excellent. So I'm definitely taking Imperiosaur. I think that card's nuts, even without a ton of cheap creatures. And here is the perfect spell for our deck. I see that there's a Skittering Surveyor here, which I have been talking a big game on, and it would be great in here. But I think even better is Invasion of Zendikar, because it finds 2 basic lands and puts them both onto play tapped immediately to ramp us into our 6 and 7 mana plays to grab 2 different colors, letting us play our Atraxa more easily. I think Invasion of Zendikar is excellent here. I'd love the Surveyor as well, but I don't think either of these is going to wheel. I'm going to take the Invasion of Zendikar. Hack 3, pick 3 now. We have a Sandstalker Moloch, which is really good if our opponent's playing blue or black, which is going to be about 40% of the time because blue and black are 40% of the colors. There's Preening Champion, which is going to be really good at giving us 2 creatures early game. It's quite nice. Get a 2/2 flyer and a 1/1 blocker. Help us stabilize a bit against more aggressive strategies. That does seem valuable. There's also Kahira, which we definitely can't play in the companion slot, most likely. But we could still play a 3-mana 3/2 that gives a lot of our random dorks +1/+1 and vigilance. Probably worse than the Moloch or the Preening Champion. The rare here is pretty slow, but it lets us grab any instant or sorcery, I guess. Yeah, not interested in that. So it's Moloch or Champion. I think the Champion's just a lot more consistent, but Moloch can be really good in the right matchup. So we'll take the Preening Champion here. I actually do want to take a quick peek at how many cats, elementals, nightmares, dinosaurs, and beasts we have. All right, we've already ruined it. There's a spirit, that doesn't count. 2 mutants, they don't count. Human wizard, that doesn't count. Plus, I don't think we can play 2 companions, can we? I think we can only have 1 companion anyway. Let's just take the Preening Champion. Pack 3, pick 4 now. I actually like this Alabaster Host Intercessor. Gives us a main deckable way to just grab another planes for Atraxa. Or if we have our planes already, it's a fine late game, just giant removal spell style creature. Artistic Refusal is really good in a deck that has a ton of creatures to be able to convoke it. Not like really good, but it's pretty good in a deck that has a ton of creatures to convoke it. But again, with a slower curve like this, I think Artistic Refusal gets a lot worse. I'm going to go for the Intercessor. Solid way to get more white mana fixing into the deck. I'm going to take another Preening Champion over a second Intercessor, though. Again, I think valuable 3-drops that can play 2 creatures off 1 card are going to be really, really valuable for us, since we're not playing anything turn 1, turn 2. Obosh is another really cool companion. So cool to see the companions in the Multiverse Legends slot here. Alright, another Timberland Ancient. Again, nice flexible card. We might want Temporal Cleansing because I'm really low on interaction. That can just slow our opponent down, give us more time. Yeah, I do have 2 Ancients and an Alabaster Host, so I have 3 land cyclers already. I'm pretty bad at convoking. I guess double Preening Champion and Invasion of Segovia can have helped that a bit. I'm actually going to go Cleansing over Ancient, make sure I have some ways to interact with my opponent's cards. While we can't play Finn, we can definitely play Corruption of Tawashi, and it'll be pretty great in here. Kind of a slow, expensive card, 5 mana to incubate 4, but once we flip that incubator into a 4/4 Phyrexian, we'll draw a card off of it with this enchantment's ability, and if we flip any other permanents, we'll also draw a card once per turn, so it can be a really powerful card draw engine late in the game. Like it a good bit. Ooh, pick 8 Invasion of Zendikar? Beautiful. Beautiful stuff there. Slam dunk. Join the party. Another Temporal Cleansing, I think, for more interaction over another big dorky 5-drop. Out of that pack. Now we take the 3-drop. Little aggro dork for attacking battles. I don't think I'm playing Kahira, but I'm really not playing Protocol Knight or Halo Charged Scab either, so I guess I'll take Kahira. Now, Artistic Refusal. I don't think it makes the cut in this deck. I don't think I'll want 2 Fertilid's Favor. Now that I have 2 Invasion of Zendikar, I'm probably cutting the favors. Because the Invasion of Zendikars are a lot better. We'll see. We are moving into the deck building now, and we get to cut 11 cards. So I do have to cut a lot of stuff out of this deck. I don't think there's anything in the sideboard that looks pretty good for this deck, so we'll immediately just start looking at it as is. I guess I only need to cut 7 cards because Karuga goes into the companion slot, which is nice. Alright, let's see what we've got here. I don't love these Fertilid Favors with 2 Invasion of Zendikar in the deck now. rather not cut very many of the 3 mana cards, keep as many of those as possible. So we have 5 cuts to go. Love Invasion of Segovia and the 2 Champions, cards that are just going to spit out multiple bodies off one creature. Love the Kami for the mana ramp. War Historian's kind of just okay, but I like that it blocks flyers. Kahira is not that consistent. Cats, Elementals, Nightmares, Dinosaurs, Beasts. I mean, it's really cool artwork, but I think we cut that. There's 1 Beast, 1 Cat, but that is Kahira. Actually, Kahira might be a cat beast. I'll have to double check. 1 Dinosaur, 0 Elementals. Yeah, there's just not enough cards for Kahira, definitely. Yeah, Kahira's a cat beast. So Kahira is the 1 cat and the 1 beast. Yeah, we'll definitely cut that. What's our creature count? 16 creatures and a Karuga. And we have some battles that count as creatures, basically. Well, Segovia does. Invasion of Zendikar and Invasion of Lorwyn aren't creatures until they flip, though, which might take some time. Inga Rune Eyes. With 2 Preening Champion and 1 Invasion, she might not be horrible. I'm not a super big fan for this deck. Do like Renata, Atris for sure, Atraxa for sure, just because it's fun to try out the splash. Atraxa is probably genuinely just not worth splashing in the white, because it's not like she does anything except just be a strong creature up front. The Proliferate doesn't really do much for this deck, but it's still fun to try to get that white mana in here. But that could be the simplest way to wrap things up, is just knock it down to just only splashing a little bit of black, making the mana base a lot simpler. We still have a lot of high power level stuff, so that's probably the best way to build the deck, again, because not actually doing anything with Atraxa outside of playing a good stat line creature, so if they just removal spell Atraxa, we're not getting any value anyway. A lot of our other best cards, like Invasion of Lorwyn, are like, boom, get value killing something and then get a big creature as well, or Karuga, get a 5/4 creature that has a beat stick and draw a bunch of cards. I think I'm actually going to do that. I'll just cut white entirely. Cut the Blossoming Sands. And then I only need to cut 2 cards. Very much not that interested in Halo Charged Scab. Put an instant Sorcerer Battle from Grave on top. I have a few of those, but like, not a ton that are super exciting to put on top after I already have 5 mana. I'm just going to cut the Scab. I think I'm going to keep as many 3 mana cards as possible since I have no 1s and 2s, so I'll cut the Inga and call it a deck there. I think Refusal's so hard for me to hold up in this deck, though. No, I'm going to cut well, again, the Preening Champions and the Invasion of Segovia are pretty helpful for Refusal, but outside of that, 6 mana instance a lot without a good amount of Convoke going on. Yeah, I'll cut Refusal over Inga. Inga also scries 3, which kind of digs towards good plays, just like the draw 2, discard 1 does. Definitely worse than draw 2, discard 1, but a much more consistent card. We know we can always just slam it down on turn 4. All right, I think we're going to call it a deck there. Just got to make sure our mana base is good. 14 green, 12 blue, and 2 black. It's 8 green sources, 8 blue sources, 3 black sources. Seems fine with me, especially with double Invasion of Zendikar. Yeah, an 8-8 split with 3 of our splash color as well. Seems like a good mana base to me and a solid deck. We'll call it there. Alright, here's a look at the completed deck list for today. This is going to be a green-blue splash black Karuga deck. So we pick 1, pack 1, the Karuga, which allowed us to draft only cards with mana value 3 or greater and lands to make sure that every single game we have Karuga basically in our hand. So starting every game with an 8-card hand instead of a 7-card hand. Already pretty powerful, and Karuga is a good card to consistently have, being able to hit the board as a 5/4, potentially draws some extra cards. So our deck is going to be a bit slow, so we've got some tap lands that gain some life to set up in the early game. And then at turn 3, we have a ton of 3-drops so that we can start trying to stabilize if our opponent was aggressive. We've got Invasion of Segovia, giving 2 1/1s, Preening Champion, giving a 2/2 and a 1/1, Kami ramping us up in mana, War Historian being just a really good blocker. Same with the Mutagen Connoisseurs, so some really high toughness blockers that can block flyers as well, and some creatures that spit out multiple creatures off of one card. So get a wide board state pretty early, some mana ramp between the Kami and a Blighted Burgeoning, and some decent interaction with Tandem Takedown and Double Temporal Cleansing. From that point on, things start getting a little wild. We have Invasion of Zendikar for more ramp and mana fixing, and if we flip this invasion, we get some really good value, getting a 4/4 Vigilance Haste as well on top of all that mana ramp. We've got Inga Rune Eyes to scry a bunch, set up our next draws, Renata to put a +1/+1 counter on every creature we play, and Atris for a huge 2 or 3 for 1 value play. We have a Moti, Celebrant of Bounty, to be a straight up 2 for 1 right when we cast her, cascading into another spell, and then if we cast more 6 mana or greater spells afterwards, those will also cascade into more spells. We have Eyes of Gitaxias being a 2 for 1, giving us a 3/3 and drawing a card, Corruption of Tawashi being at least a 2 for 1, giving us a 4/4 and drawing a card, and then the big beef, 2 6 mana 6/5 Reach Tramplers that can also be forest cycled early game, and an Ancient Imperiosaur for a gigantic trample ward creature. Last but not least, Invasion of Lorwyn is nice, pretty much unconditional removal that can be flipped into a big, beefy creature. It's a lot of really good 2 and 3 for 1 value here. Some big beef late in the game, some pretty cool Karuga ramp stuff going on, and I'm pretty excited to see how the deck does as we head into the gameplay. Here we are in game 1 with a very solid hand. We've got Invasion of Segovia and Mutagen Connoisseur as our 3 drops. Obviously, we don't have a very good cheap start to this game because Karuga is going to make sure we only have 3 drops as the cheapest card, so having 2 of them to start it off is fine. If we find the black source, the hand's exceptional. If we can't find the black source, we might have a little bit of a problem, but we can still go turn 3, one of these, turn 4, do another one. Put like a Karuga in our hand. We've got stuff to do with our mana for sure. Our opponent's going to start with a turn 1 Beamtown Beatstick, which is not something I really want to see here because it's an aggressive little equipment. Luckily they don't have any 2-drops, so they're not going to just slam it onto something immediately, but being able to give any of their creatures menace is going to be pretty wild. Yeah, nothing all the way up to turn 3. We'll take it. That is going to give us, hopefully, the time that we need. We can just drop Invasion of Segovia now, so we have 2 blockers. If they play a menace creature, it's going to make it a lot easier to stack up a double block in the future once they do put the beat stick on something. Here's a Daxos, Blessed by the Sun. Going to be a very big menace creature because it gets more toughness if they have more white permanents on the board. Alright. So I'll drop the Connoisseur here. Not super excited about it, but I think it's better than putting Karuga in my hand right now. We'll go for a Modi next turn. See what we can cascade into. Brass. Whenever they cast an instant or sorcery, they deal 1 damage to us and get a red mana. Exile Urabrask and flip it if they've cast 3 or more instants or sorceries this turn. Hopefully that's not going to happen. I could Imperiosaur, but 5, 6, 7. I guess I could Imperiosaur and still have a blocker up. Imperiosaur is interesting. I feel like it's better to try to Emoti first because I don't think this is going to draw removal that fast, and if it doesn't get killed, then Imperiosaur gets to cascade as well, which is phenomenal. Alright, now we have a super wide board. Oh my god, can I cast it? 4, 5, 6. No, I'm 1 creature away from also just convoking a 2020 Imperiosaur on top of that, which would have been wild. Alright, I got my fingers crossed. Emoti is really fragile, that's the issue here. Wait a second. Wait a second. What is this? Urabrask and Urabrask the Hidden. So my creatures enter the battlefield tapped now. That's obviously not good for me. Well, I can cascade with Imperiosaur still. Kind of like burgeoning to have double green up for tandem takedown, though. I think I would rather set that up. Maybe blow up this Urabrask. I can blow up this Urabrask and flip this invasion. Wait, how do I not? Oh, I don't. It doesn't add 2 of one color, it just adds an additional one. So I don't have takedown yet. I still have to wait a turn. If I still have to wait a turn, then I can't actually. I wanted to take down here. That would buff these both to make it 3 power and 1 power. So that's 4 total. So we get to kill an Urabrask, and then also 4 power flying kills the invasion. That would have been really good. Since I can't do that, do I just play Imperiosaur then with Emoti? I guess. I mean, I hold up a big blocker. I guess if I can't play another, I could just flip this. Convoke with everything but my 1/5, I think. Oh, I need another green. Well, this lack of green's been an issue. So I have to tap both my green cards. I guess I'll just leave the artifact up. Let's see what we cascade into then. Cascade into Inga, alright, that's not bad. Oh yeah, this is going to come into play tapped. That's actually kind of a big deal. I have the double green thanks to this enchantment now, so I don't actually need the next. I'll keep cleansing. I've got a lot of creatures on board, so I can definitely convoke that to deal with an Urabrask for a while. Alright, 18/18. Tapped Trampler. I have a single 2/2 to chump block with. I'll attack for 1,000,000 next turn. That's my plan. Please don't kill Imperiosaur. And please don't steal it with the shackles of whatever that steals it and gives them a treasure token when they hit me. That would just kill me. If they can borrow one of my creatures till end of turn, I'm dead. Alright, Jero and Hazoret does not borrow one of my creatures. Does have a really good attack trigger. How does it have haste? Oh, because Urabrask. Yeah, that's going to be bad. If they have a legendary in their top 6, they cast it for free. Cast a Zada for free. Okay, that could be pretty bad. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I mean, I just killed them with a crackback, so I'm just not going to block. They don't have a 1-mana way to kill Imperiosaur, they're just dead. So we're fine. I guess a 2-mana way. Go to 4, and then we just attack with everybody. Hope for the best. There'll be some wild nonsense regardless. I'm going to Temporal Cleansing their 1 blocker. Tap 1 creature, 2 mana, or 3 mana. And I'm still holding up Tandem Takedown on top of this to be really safe. Attack for well over 24. I don't know what they could have for 2 mana to survive here. It'd have to be like a literal fog. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. This has Vigilance. Sure, that's overkill, and I get to actually leave some blockers to maybe not die with a takedown if they have something that prevents all combat damage. Alright. They did not have anything. We are going to find the gigantic Ancient Imperiosaur kill there, and we are going to be 1-0. Beating the double Urabrask into Jeru and Hazoret, so beat some other rares. It's not a super one-sided game there, definitely a back and forth. 1-0 heading into game number 2. Here we are now for game 2. Pretty unkeepable hand mana-wise, so I'll take that mulligan. This is just as bad. I guess I get the Forest Cycle here. Takedown's going to be super late game, and if I'm not playing removal to super late game, I think I'd rather have Invasion of Lorwyn if I can find a green source. So we're going to go turn Ancient into a Forest, put Karuga in hand, and then hope that a turn 5 Emoti goes a long way to establishing a board state. This deck would be unplayable, and Phyrexial will be one. I can tell you that much. Karuga would just be the biggest trap of all time. Destined for defeat. Against all of the good, aggressive 1 and 2 mana creatures. Forest turn 1 from our opponent. Drop our second island and pass the turn. Green-white with a turn 2 Finn the Fangbearer. That's going to put a good amount of pressure on us. Getting 2 poison counters every time it hits us is spooky. Corruption of Tawashi, another great 5 mana card. Karuga after an Emoti could be wild. So it could be a draw 2 just like immediately, because we'll have 2 permanents potentially with that. Alright, Overgrown Pest is their turn 3 play. We are going to get beat down a bit before we can do much. Alright, Preening Champion's a beautiful draw. Now I have some dorks. And I could double block Finn and just lose 1 creature. Although if they hit a red source for this Invasion of Regatha they just drew, then they can kill my 1/1 elemental with it. Well, they just have the red source naturally. Bit of a bummer. Now we can't block Finn well, but I could trade into the Pest. Which I might have to do. If they double attack the Invasion or something. Yeah, I think if they attack Invasion, I have to take that trade. Alright, Celebrant of Bounty, let's celebrate some good plays, shall we? Alright, well, I was hoping for permanent, but that's fine too, I guess. Get rid of all the creatures on their board now, they're just dealt with for now. I was hoping for permanents to go with Karuga. And they're going to keep Finn, so they're going to redraw Finn next turn. Rampaging Geoderm, does that have haste? Oh my god, it does. That's bad. Put the Invasion down to 1 defense. Well, let's play a Cascading 7 drop. And hope for something big. That's decently big. Yeah, those are some huge blocks now. Now we can try to protect the Invasion with a 9/9 Ward 2. Can't protect the Evasion with Renata because she doesn't have high enough toughness to stop Geoderm from trampling over. But Imperiosaur certainly does. They've got a black source now, though, so they could just have some kind of unconditional removal to kill Imperiosaur. 4 colors from our opponent right now. Valduk, Keeper of the Flame. Alright, that does not break through right now. Now we have Invasion of Segovia. I think I'm just going to draw 3 looking for black sources ideally. No black source. But I can Temporal Cleansing, tapping some creatures on this Geoderm. I could also do it on Finn and start attacking with a 9/9 trample. I still have reasonable blocks. Not incredible blocks, but reasonable ones. What happens if they flip this? Just a 4/4 prowess adds to their non-creature damage. That's fine. I think I like that tap from cleansing, and then we start attacking with Imperiosaur, and we have Karuga to block Geoderm. So they have to double attack the invasion to flip it. And they'll lose one of their creatures. Or they just single attack with Geoderm and we trade Karuga into the Geoderm, which is fine because I have follow-up plays. Because I just drew 3 more cards. Oh. Well, we were never going to block then. Boonbringer Valkyrie is... Boonbringer Valkyrie? Boonbringer Valkyrie is a ridiculously phenomenal rare. But so is Imperiosaur and Karuga, so it's all good. There's a lot of phenomenal rares to go around. No reach, and no way to get reach right now. Digging for that black source for Invasion of Lorwyn still. Drop Eyes of Gitaxias. Draw a card looking for the black source, and I can also play Invasion of Segovia in the same turn. And still have the 2 mana to flip it up. Yeah, that seems fine. Okay, no black source. There's a reach creature, but it doesn't block the Boonbringer well. They can't kill Imperiosaur unless they block it with everybody, and then I get to choose what I want to kill. So I do like Invasion of Segovia on them, and attacking the invasion instead of their face, because they're just going to gain a bunch of life. So I need to get, like... invasion value, ideally. I can't send in a 7/3. I could send in a 6/5. If this invasion flips, I'm going to untap my board, so I think I do send in a 6/5. Should probably send it just confirming that this invasion flips. So I know I can untap all my dorks and only take a hit from the Valkyrie. Alright, this is fine. It makes all of my non-creature spells have Convoke now. So I could actually even play Corruption of Tawashi now. Just by tapping everybody and then just untap my 4 best blockers. And then now I draw a card every time I incubate? Yeah, that's really good. Oh my god. One, two, three. I guess one of those, because I don't really want to trade Renata off. She's only got 3 toughness. I can flip a 4/4 block with it and draw another card as well. All I need to do is find the black source for Invasion of Lorwyn to kill this Valkyrie, and we're winning the game handedly. I'm drawing so many cards off of this Corruption of Tawashi. Constantly holding up blockers. They do redraw the Finn. Completely forgot about that, but I could have just looked at their library at any point to remember. Jog my memory there. And I have such a massive board state that, yeah, they can't really find the best blocks. Whether or not they send Valkyrie in. I think I'm just already in the lead. This position's just ridiculous. Even without the blocker for the Valkyrie. Basically giving 4 of my creatures vigilance every turn. Constantly attacking with the biggest 4. Alright, let's flip this 4/4 and draw a card. Another blue source. Ooh, Mutagen Connoisseur is actually going to be large on this board. I'm going to flip this to draw a card and see if I hit the black source again to kill the Valkyrie. Because if we ever get out of the way, we're just basically immediately lethal. There's the black source. Comes into play tapped, though. Alright, Mutagen Connoisseur is large. Oh, it can just block Valkyrie. Good god. Yeah, we're golden. We're fine. They could trade Finn into the Imperiosaur, but still take 1,000,000 damage. Now I have a 4/6 to block the Valkyrie. Yeah. They're gonna scoop them up there. That was a little too much. A little too much stuff going on our board. Incredible stuff yet again from Karuga, but really, really good stuff from Invasion of Segovia, being able to flip into that creature that was untapping 4 of our cards and giving all of our spells Convoke. Both of those abilities were very, very relevant that game, and we're going to start off 2-0. Heading into game 3, kind of feels like I'm playing Tinkerer's Cube, to be honest. Just a bunch of wild, super powerful synergies and stuff popping off. This format does feel kind of cube-like, more than it does like a regular draft format. It's very explosive. All right, here we are on the play for game number 3. A little bit of mana ramp, nice late game dork, decent reach blocker. I'll keep the hand. Our opponent's going to start with Swift Water Cliffs. Go Kami into Burgeoning and get extra counters that way. I have a bunch of mana up as well. Probably play Burgeoning and Connoisseur this turn, right? Because I have 1 from that and 2 from that. Yes, I can. Alright. Ooh, Invasion of Zendikar to play as well. That's exciting. I think Burgeoning Connoisseur is better. Because it just actually puts another creature on my board too. This mana is really working out here. I'm going to draw 1 million cards off Karuga. Just on lock. Okay. Can Invasion of Zendikar and still have 2 mana up to flip this thing? Sure. Already got the Black Swords with Jungle Hollow. Grab another blue-green. Play a land and play War Historian instead of just flipping the Incubator token. Flipping the Incubator makes the Connoisseur bigger. And I can poke the Invasion for 1. I think I'm going to flip this to poke the Invasion for 1. Actually just beat the Invasion if they don't chump with their Kami of Whispered Hopes. Aww, unless they have exactly that card. Bounce that, now the Connoisseur doesn't even damage it. Well, that's disgusting. Emoti, that card's really good. Hopefully they cascade into poop. Alright, that's not poop. That is a fine card. 4/1 haste vehicle and a 3/3 Incubator token thanks to their Kami of Whispered Hopes. Yeah, I know that card well. That card is ridiculous. I don't have a lot of interaction in my deck, so if they start playing 6 drops themselves, we're going to have problems. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. Costs 8 to put Karuga in hand and cast it, which means I can't play another spell and do Karuga here, but I could play Inga and War Historian. I think I'd rather do that. Again, just getting as greedy as possible with this Karuga, really. Scry 3, put every land on bottom. Keep the Preening Champion. I think I'll have the mana, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess I won't have the mana to play the Preening Champion and the Karuga, but that's fine. These are good cards in the future. Yeah. I'm just going to be playing Karuga next turn, and that's okay. Here's War Historian, and hopefully Emoti doesn't pop off. Oh, I can put Karuga in hand. I'm the master of miscounting. I keep forgetting about my aura, I think. Means I can play the champion and the Karuga next turn. Means I'll draw 1 million cards. Oh, they double up all their enter the battlefield effects, and they have a 3/5 Death Touch Lifelinker now. I guess I can trade a 5/4 into a 3/5 Death Touch Lifelinker. Unless they have the big Convoke counterspell. Should be in a great position after Karuga. Casual draw 7. Feels good. Got 3 mana up. Oh my god, I could Convoke out an Imperiosaur if I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I can't block Yarok. I don't think I'm Convoking out Imperiosaur right now. I think I'm going to play another 3-drop. Mutagen Connoisseur, I guess. Could do it. Could do it. All in on the 2020. But I don't think so. Not until we've dealt with Yarok. Or until I can actually hold up blockers and play it in the same turn. Ooh, it's their own invasion of Zendikar. So they're going to grab any 2 lands, put them into play tapped. Get double forest. Oh, they double it up. They get 4 lands because Yarok. Oh my god, Yarok's nasty. Alright, there's Invasion of Zendikar. Good draw is good. And we'll cast it here. Kill Yarok. Yarok seems scarier than a Modi. Yeah, let's kill Yarok. They're both pretty scary. But I can only kill one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana up. Four mana without tapping any of my creatures. They have no flyers. If I can flip something right now, which I can with Eyes of Gataxias, then I can actually get battle, because I can flip this. So my connoisseurs are now 1 power, so I can kill a battle now. If they can't deal with this token. Because they have no flyers. 3 there, do 1 there. Sick. Get our 4/4. Vigilance Haste, that's also a mana dork. Play a Dismal Backwater. Yarok is dealt with now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus I'll be holding up 1 blocker at least. Yeah, fine. I'll play a 2020 this turn. Guess I'll hold up Karuga. Whee! Oh, it's a 21/21 because of our Kami of Whispered Hopes, giving it 1 additional counter. Ooh, it's their own Karuga in the main deck, though. Not in the sideboard. I'm gonna lose at least 1 game in this format to my opponent stealing my Imperiosaur and hitting me with it, but it hasn't happened to me yet. So I'm under the belief that I attacked them with all of my creatures. I am fairly certain that is the line. Their biggest creatures, 4 toughness. So everything with at least 4 power and all the flyers. And just don't even really worry about the invasion of Lorwyn. Start attacking for 1,000,000. Oh, they're just going to take it. Fair enough. Alright, 21/21. Ancient Imperiosaur does it again. I say does it again, but I think that's my first 21/21 Imperiosaur I've ever cast. I've cast a 2020 before, not a 21/21. We are having an excellent time with this deck. We are now 3-0 as we move into game number 4. Here we are for game 4. Slow hand as always, but we have a champion on turn 3, which is excellent, and we have the mana for the invasion of Lorwyn late game, as well as the invasion of Zendikar, to ramp it out quicker. So this hand actually looks like about as quick as it can get, and just like a pretty good hand overall. We even have invasion of Segovia as the draw. It's super nice. Our opponent starts with a Deeproot Wayfinder. Whenever it does combat damage to us, they surveil one, then they can put a land from their grave back on board tapped, so that can ramp them up. I think I play the champion then, threatening to double block it and kill it. They get to trade it up into our flyer, but we stop it from potentially ramping them up. unless they have a combat trick or instant speed removal spell when they attack him. If they have sorcery speed removal, we'll just know that we can't block it well and just won't block. Alright. Show me the twick. Show me the trick. No trick. They will kill the flyer. Play an Elvish Vat Keeper. Really good over the course of a long game. Makes all of their incubation double if they spend 5 mana to flip instead of 2. And they always double it up. That's just Invasion of Zendikar, so I know I can Invasion of Lorwyn later. Another Elvish Vat Keeper? I guess they're redundant now, so Invasion of Lorwyn is less exciting because I can't kill both of them. 6 mana. I could go Eyes of Gataxias and Invasion of Segovia here. Not that exciting. Can I Invasion of Segovia and still Imperiosaur? I can. 4 mana plus 3 creatures? Sure, I'll do that. Probably the most exciting line I've got. If they don't have removal, then we've just got a 12/12, and it has to be cheap removal because it has Ward 2. Skittering Surveyor. Grabs another forest. They've got 2 mana up, so unless they have a 0 mana removal spell, they can't target Ancient Imperiosaur right now. I think I want to use Imperiosaur to flip more battles so that I have extra creatures if they do kill Imperiosaur, and Invasion of Lorwyn is like straight up the best battle I could flip. The problem is if I do that, I have no removal left. I could still Invasion of Tawashi and draw a card. And then... yeah, I could Invasion of Tawashi, draw a card off of flipping this Invasion of Segovia. And give my other cards Convoke. Actually, no, I give this Convoke off of flipping Segovia. I can just play a million cards if I flip this Invasion of Segovia. So I think I try to flip that, and then choose what I do post-combat. Afterwards. I definitely flip an Invasion, though. So that even if Imperiosaur dies, I have plenty more threats. Cool. Corruption of Tawashi, Convoked out. I guess if I pre-combat, I would have drawn a card from flipping that battle. Yeah, I should have done that. I only need 2 mana up here. Put Karug in the hand. But I do need 2 mana up here. I think it would have been worth it to pre-combat. Glistening Dawn. Those can turn into 12/12s with these Vat Keepers on board, so... those are big enough to beat the Imperiosaur. This is wild. draw a ton of cards here. I can Temporal Cleansing one of the 6/6s. Invasion of Lorwyn, one of them as well. They have to be creatures, though. No instants here. Karuga draws 4 cards, I think. Karuga draws enough cards. You control. Is this under my control? Yeah, Controller Gauntlet X. So invasions count as under your control. I don't really want to kill a Vat Keeper because they have 2 though, so I don't want to play Lorwyn before I Karuga. I'm just gonna Karuga. See what we draw before I do anything else. Another Invasion of Zendikar, also a flyer. Okay. Now that they're going to have a bunch of 6/6s or 12/12s on board, I think a 4/4 is less good and I just attack face with the Imperiosaur. They're down to 8. 9 mana for non-creature spells because of Convoke. Definitely play Preening Champion. Convoke out Invasion of Zendikar. And Convoke out Temporal Cleansing. Pop one of the 6/6s. / 12/12s. I guess if they have an instant speed 2 mana removal spell for my 3/3, I'm dead. Because then I can't untap my creatures and they hit me with a 12/12. So that was a little sketchy. They had the 2 mana -2/2 to something, sacrifice to do -6/6. That would have been a nightmare. So plane cycling here. Drop a Streetwise Negotiator. Pass the turn. We get a Mutagen Connoisseur. There's just way too many things to do. Let's just like draw 2 cards right now. I just hard cast. There's still nothing I really want to kill with Invasion of Lorwyn, to be honest. They have the mana up to flip a 12/12 with a Vat Keeper. Kind of want to kill that post-combat if they don't just trade. Yeah, I guess I let them trade because our board state's going to be wide enough to just attack with everybody to deal 8 to them soon. Or at least 6 to them. After poking them with this flyer. Yeah, make a 12/12. Trade into Imperiosaur. Fair. Now we just need to make a quantity of creatures here. Okay, yeah, I'll just trade with the 12/12 still. Knock them down to 6. Play more dorks and scry. Only really lose to a board wipe. Alabaster Host Intercessor is a start for them. They've got the 2 mana to flip that token to have 6 blockers, but I've got Tandem Takedown to try to find lethal out of nowhere. Yeah, let's just kill the Alabaster Host and then attack with everybody and go from there. We should basically just be lethal. 10 attackers against 6 blockers, so 4 creatures get in. Put them down to 2. Yeah. Not technically dead on board, but with Tandem Takedown we can find lethal, giving 2 of our blockers +1 power, and our opponent is definitely just over it there. The board state is widely in our favor from all of that nonsense going on, and we're now 4-0 heading into round number 5. Absolutely insane deck today. It's really been popping off for us. Here we are in round 5. We're against a Wizard of the Coast employee. That's what the mythic orange name means. Human token just means they didn't choose a specific name for this early access event, so we'll never know who it is, but we are against a Wizards of the Coast employee, which is pretty sweet. Definitely appreciate all the things that Wizards does, making the greatest card game on Earth, in my opinion. Otherwise, I wouldn't play a draft every single day on the YouTube channel. I'm going to take a mulligan here. 2 landers are kind of rough for the 3 mana and up deck, especially when they're mono-colored. Okay, this is better. 2 mana dorks as well, and this is really good. Drop the cleansing. Tetsuko Umezawa, turn 2. Looks like we are not going to be allowed to block a lot. Could spell disaster for us. So I think we're on Kami into Burgeoning again, so that we get the extra counters from the Burgeoning. And I can play Burgeoning and a 3-drop next turn after this, if they don't have removal for my Kami. Because next turn I have 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana total. Yeah, 2 3-drops next turn. They're going to cycle their Alabaster Host Intercessor for a white source. Monastery Mentor is the white splash. Well, really powerful with Tetsuko Umezawa. Make a bunch of 1/1 tokens and they're unblockable as long as Umezawa's on board. Yeah, I think our deck has a rough time against Tetsuko because we're not a deck with a lot of removal. We just try to get some beefy blockers down later, and I can't particularly do that against a card that makes all their 1/1s unblockable. So next turn I have a boatload of mana, so I can go Corruption of Tawashi and start drawing cards as I flip stuff. Okay. Invasion of Moag is bad for me, but it does buff their cards up to make them so they are blockable, which is kind of nice. Alright, hopefully no 1 mana card here to kill my Connoisseur. Kind of just going to get blown out here no matter what if they have a 1 mana card. Yeah. And at least they didn't flip the invasion, but that's still a nightmare. Got the mana to play the Corruption and flip a card, have a very big blocker. Yeah, I gotta play an untapped land though. But we'll have a 5/5 blocker and draw a card. That's not as bad as it could have been. There's some combat tricks that could have been worse for us. So Mentor's attacking Invasion, as is a Monk. Tetsuko and the Monk's attacking us. This is definitely a prowess card, because if they just made this attack without an instant speed card in hand, then I could just make a 5/5 block Mentor. They don't flip the Invasion. But now, if they're attacking like this, that's because they're convinced they can flip the Invasion no matter what. So even if I block Mentor, they're going to combat trick to save it, kill Invasion. So since Invasion's already dead, I'd rather stop damage that's coming to me and try to kill Tetsuko Umezawa. Now, more likely than not, whatever card's in their hand is big enough to save Tetsuko Umezawa, if not kill this Incubator. But I think that's going to go a lot better for me than trying to block Mentor. Oh, if it's just that, they only needed to attack with one creature over there. Okay. I think that could have been worse for me. They could have hit me in the face a little harder, at least. Still don't think I'm winning, though. This Monastery Mentor has popped all the way off. But you never know. This format is wild. Things can really flip around. Ooh, Atris. It's a cool one. Got the mana to play Atris and flip this card and draw another card. 3/2 menace on board. Sure. Play Atris here. And get a 3/3 and draw a card. These lands aren't that valuable. If I hit 3 lands in a row, then I guess I'm doomed. Cool. I get a 3/3. That is fine. Rather flip up this Incubator and draw a card. Find an Invasion of Zendikar. I think I'm dying pretty fast. But hopefully my opponent can draw just a couple lands. We can get a tiny bit of breathing room. If they draw dead 1 or 2 turns in a row, could be the room we need to stabilize. That is infinitely far from drawing dead. That clears out a blocker and triggers Monastery Mentor as well as their entire board of prowess. Yeah. Yeah, just take 13, go to 2. All right. Goodbye, opponent. This game is... I mean, I go to 2 where I chump block and be at like 6, and I'm dead either way. Yeah, we needed them to miss on a draw or 2 this game, and they definitely did not. We're going to be 4-1 moving into round number 6. Here we are for game 6. One of our slower hands. I did just keep this hand with no 3-mana plays, but luckily we drew into one of them. But we've got powerful stuff later on with Atris, the Oracle of Half-Truths, giving us some card draw, and Renata buffing up all our creatures if we find another green source. Luckily our opponent's not going to start things off till turn 3 themselves, playing a Scorn Blade Berserker. Let's just drop a 3/3 to block that for now. And they're just going to sack it to draw a card. We discard 2 cards to this Invasion of Eldraine. That's kind of annoying. I'll just discard both the Cleansings. Currently, I don't really need to interact with their board state. I'll drop the Oracle of Half-Truths here. Lands are decently valuable for us. I'll take them here. Get 2 lands over Corruption of Tawashi. That's fine. Corruption of Tawashi is strong, but we're at a point in the game we can definitely still use lands. And if I picked the Corruption, I wouldn't even have the mana to play it, yet I'd have to set up Burgeoning and stuff. Failed Conversion. Okay. Kill our 3/2 Menace and Surveil 2. We get to keep chipping in with War Historian. Reigning Champion is the draw. We have 5 mana to play around with. Probably play Renata now that I have found the green sources for her. And that way every other creature I play is going to come with extra counters. Merciless Repurposing. This is just all removal of the deck. Well, keep slamming down dorks and hitting our opponent in the face. Hopefully they don't have like a Breach the Multiverse or something. The like 7 mana bomb rare, play the best card from each grave. Well, mill 10 for each player and then play the best card in each grave. As long as they aren't just like ramping into some absurd 7-drop or something. We've still got more than enough threats to close things out. Yeah, attacking for 9, putting them to 2 here right now. I guess they trade their Incubator into the War Historian. No, they're going to go to 2. Alright. I'm going to put some more Incubators on board to play around a potential board wipe. Because I don't have to flip them until the turn I want to attack with them. Oh, that's the wrong card. I just got brain farted there. I was trying to play Eyes of Gitaxias. My bad. I meant to play this Incubate 3, not the champion. Not sure it'll matter. They're going to draw 3, now they'll play Invasion of Old Growth. That could matter. 3 damage to something and they're going to gain 3 life. They get some breathing room. Not going to be enough though, so we will find the victory there. We are now 5-1, heading into round 7. Here we are in round 7. I don't think I can really keep 2 landers with this deck. Although it's completely on color and we're on the draw. If I hit 1 land, I play Eyes of Gitaxias. It's like a little bit greedy, but 1 land does open up the world for me. With Eyes of Gitaxias drawing us a card to try to hit the 4th land, and even if we don't hit it, we can cast everything in our hand. Because we can play all these spells, and with a creature on board, we can cast Cleansing as well. So, 1 land draw in my first 3 draws, and I'm golden. Since I am on the draw this game. And there you go. Timberland Ancient certainly counts. We can just Forest Cycle that next turn. And I think I'm going to do that even if I hit a land. Because ideally I need to hit more than just the 3rd land if I draw some more big spells. Ooh. Well, if I hit a tap land, I might hold on to Ancient for now. I guess it's probably better to Forest Cycle and then play a 3-drop and then play the tap land on turn 4. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. I think we still want to turn this into a land badly enough to skip out on the tap land for now. I have a million 3-mana cards in my hand, so I can just play a 3-mana card on turn 4 to get the tap land out of the way later. Our opponent's on Boros aggro. The most aggressive curve we ran up into so far, so probably the hardest time winning this fight. Our opponent went 1-mana creature, 2-mana creature, 3-mana creature, and they're probably going to follow it up with a 4-mana creature, because even if they don't, they just turn their 1-mana creature into a 4-mana creature, basically, by making it a 4/3 trample. So, the one problem with Karuga decks, it's going to be super hard to beat a 1, 2, 3, 4 curve, but we'll do what we can. Ooh, Invasion of Segovia gives me multiple blockers, but none of them are big enough to matter against this board. I think I have to just play Connoisseur, because it can just block off a 3/3 forever if they don't use a removal spell on it. Yeah, flip the Dune Shaper makes sense. Stop 4 damage with this Connoisseur. Put in some work. Do I play a 3/3 that can trade into their 4/3, or do I just keep blocking? I think ideally I'd like to trade a creature off this board at this point. Start reducing the number of attackers. Golden Scale Aeronaut, that is nasty here. Back up to give the Dune Stomper flying. I can't block it without just losing my 0/5. They can also haste the flyer, but then I'll just block with my 0/5, so that's fine. Yeah, them just having that as a 5/4 is already bad enough for me. I guess I can Temporal Cleansing it now, which might be my best bet. I could play Invasion of Segovia and Temporal Cleansing, but then I'm holding up no blockers at 6 life. That doesn't feel like a winning position. I wish I hit a 5th land. I'm definitely happy with my choice to Forest Cycle and play the tap land, because this is a position where we wish, we pray that we had a 5th land. I die to a lot of things with Historian on their board if I tap out for cleansing after playing some 1/1s. I guess I just cleansing pass then. Still die to a lot of things though. Alright, they put it back second from the top. Invasion of Belenon for a 2/2 Vigilant Knight and Enduring Bond Warden. So they still had gas in hand and drew another playable spell as well. Neither their card in hand or on top was an additional land for them. Pretty sick nasty. We do hit the 5th land now, but it doesn't matter anymore because I guess it matters for Gataxias, but I have no other way to use 5 mana. But since the Convoke card's gone, they can just haste out their 4/3 Trampler. Pretty sure I'm dead regardless. If I missed 0 land drops, we had a tiny chance, but this was just a great aggro curve out from our opponent. I'm going to scoop them up there. We are 5-2, heading into round 8. Here we are now for round 8 with a really explosive late game hand. We're on the play here, luckily. It's going to help us out quite a bit, but we do not have any 3-mana cards in hand, which could be an issue. Probably going to go ahead and Forced Cycle the Timberland Ancient here to guarantee land drops throughout this game. And then probably put Garuga in hand on turn 3 since I don't have anything to do then, if I don't draw a 3-drop by that time. Alright, Jungle Hollow and pass the turn. Our opponent starts with a forest and passes themselves. Well, now when I make it to 4 mana, I have Invasion of Zendikar, which is really good here. Gonna be significantly better 4-drop than Temporal Cleansing. Opponent starting with a 2-mana 3-power creature is horrifying to me. I'm just gonna grab the forest, but that's gonna chip a lot of damage in here against a hand like this. Alright, now I'm Invasion of Zendikaring into the Invasion of Lorwyn, ramp-wise, which is beautiful, especially with a Modi if they don't get to kill that. You could get a lot of Cascade off. Take our 3 damage and an Elvish Vat Keeper. Now they can attack us for 8 next turn because they can hit with that, and the Incubator if they flip it. I've kind of got to guarantee that 8th mana. We're going to play Invasion of Zendikar, ready to take 8 damage to the face and go to 10. Fingers crossed for some big 2-for-1s in the future. With cards like Emoti. There's an Invasion of Zendikar of their own that they're going to immediately flip. I didn't mean 2-for-1s for my opponent. I meant 2-for-1s for myself. I don't want to see them get 2 extra lands and a 4/4 Vigilance on board. That's disgusting. Alright. Miles behind now. Hope for some great emote stuff. Alright, an Inga is not horrific. Atris is fine. I don't think I want another invasion of Zendikar. Pretty sure I'm playing Invasion of Lorwyn next turn. We've slammed down some blockers. Not good blockers for their 4/4, but some amount of blockers nonetheless. There's a Portent Tracker, Aetherblade Ancient, and an Aetherblade Ancient. Okay, those are all fine. Those are all A-okay with me. I think I'm going to kill the 5/5 Vigilance with Invasion and try to scry into another creature. No, I could just drop 2 creatures with Imperiosaur instead. Might be more of what I want to do. Yeah. Just immediately try to get 2 creatures again. Plays really poorly against their Death Touchers though, but so does Invasion of Lorwyn. Guess it blocks their other stuff fine. Yeah, just gonna take some Death Touch and damage. Tandem Takedown. Well, I almost feel like with a gigantic like 7/7 on board. Oh wait, no, I just flipped my Invasion. Yeah, I'll flip my Invasion, that'll give me another creature. I think that's better. And just like killing a Vat Keeper or something. Just getting more blockers up, because I have like 1,000 cards in hand. If I can just have the time to deploy them all, we're going to come pretty far ahead this game. So do everything we can to get more time to play all these cards. No! This mana value, or... No, it's power, so there's no way I can kill a 14/14. I guess I can put it back in their library, but then they can replay it as a 20/20 soon enough. Yeah, that's not good. Not good, I would say. How badly do I want to Cascade? If I Cascade with this, I'll have the mana to still play Cleansing, but no, I wouldn't pay for the ward. 100% I have to just Cleansing Imperiosaur for 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 1 mana up and 4 creatures potentially tapping for it. I could play Atris and still do it, but barely. I really don't have a great way to play a creature and Cleansing at the same time. Slow that thing down. I'll have to redraw it again. Let's see what their top deck is in between. Wary Thespian. I'm gonna guess they're not gonna mill the Imperiosaur. I love how it turns it face down. They're like, you don't know what it is anymore. They kept a card on top with Surveil. Who knows? Who knows what they kept? I definitely don't. No idea what's waiting on top of their library. Yep, flip an Aetherblade Agent. Get out of my life. I might be greedy to keep Emoti out at this point. Just to cascade off Invasion. But I don't care. I'm gonna be greedy. I'm gonna be greedy. Alright, I'm never gonna have 14 lands out, so I am just gonna blow up the Vat Keeper now. And cascade. Find a Blighted Burgeoning. Guess I get some extra mana. Oh, that's an elf. Of course I can't kill elves with this thing. Well, shoot. I can block 4/4s with my 8/8. So I kind of want to kill the Death Toucher. Although I can block the Death Toucher with a Moti. And now I'm almost out of 6 drops, I'm sure. Just in this deck in general. Yeah, I'd probably trade a Moti into the 3/3 thingy and just kill the Skyclave. Now we'll play a chunky Connoisseur blocker. I'm racking my brain, and I really don't think we have good removal for... Oh, you know what? I could have killed the Death Toucher to try to attack the Invasion of Lorwyn this turn. That would have been okay. I really don't think I have good removal for Imperiosaur. I'm pretty sure they're just going to get it back. It's going to be not a 20/20, because they're only going to convoke 6 creatures. It'll be an 18/18. But then I will just die to an 18/18 over time. Already used 1 cleansing. I guess there's 1 more cleansing in the deck. I think we have 2. So if we hit another copy, we can slow it down again. That might be the best bet. Transform that so they can convoke with everybody. And here comes the gigantic Ancient Imperiosaur. Oh, just a 16/16. Okay. Not as big as I thought it would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. 4 mana for Atris and 5 for Karuga. Or 3 for Kami, 2 to flip, and 5 for Karuga. Probably Kami, flip, and Karuga is better. So we go Kami, Karuga first. Hold up the 2 mana. In case we draw a 2 mana card. There's the Temporal Cleansing! That's exactly what we needed. Oh my god, and that's the 2 mana for the ward? I kinda have to tap like all my creatures though, to do that right now. I have to tap 4 creatures, and then 2 for the ward. Then I can send Imperiosaur at Invasion of Lorwyn. They can trade, but then I still kill the invasion. And I'll still have 1 blocker up, which isn't a lot, not as much as I'd like. I can block a 3-power creature, take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's not lethal, and then I lethal them in the crackback if they attack with everybody, so I think I do get violently aggressive here. Alright. They block, so my big dork is gone, but now I'll get a different big dork. And it cascades? It cascades again because it's still technically CMC 6 or more? That's so good. I didn't even know that. If I knew it cascaded, I would 100% went for that there. No questions asked. Alright, Gigantha, just a 5/5 for 5, that's fine. I don't have any counter spells to counter this gigantic thing, but if I can just be aggressive enough. 11 cards left. Oh my god, I have to hit them so hard. Just drop an Atris. I have 2 lands in hand, so I'm just going to take whatever pile has non-lands. I'm already not going to win this game if I don't kill them really quickly, so I'm not worried about milling myself more. 3/3 reach. If this just has 1 land, that's not that much worse than this, because I have plenty of other spells. I'm not going to get to the point where I'm casting this thing. Ooh, Corruption of Tawashi. That's legitimately a big one. I think I Invasion of Segovia on them. Is this a sorcery? Yes, it is. Good. Play another land. They don't have Death Touch anymore, but they can find some decent blocks. I've got many blockers, and I need to outrace a super big trampler, so... I don't send the 2/2 because they just block with War Historian, but I try to flip this thing and then untap all my dorks. And convoke out Corruption of Tawashi and do a bunch of other nonsense. Yep, I can only really attack with the 5 power greater stuff on the ground because Giganta. They're just going to let it in so we can flip the invasion. Fair enough. Yeah, we're pretty happy to see that. Now we're just going to convoke like everything. Have as much stuff as possible on our board. Eight cards left in the deck. I just need to... I'm not going to mill out. I don't need to worry about that. I just need to outrace this Imperiosaur. So... Corruption of Tawashi, just tapping all our creatures. 1, 2. Move over. 3, 4, 5. Connoisseur, still have 2 mana up to flip one of these. And I'm gonna convoke this out. 1, 2, 3. Draw a Timberland Ancient. That can cascade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't have the mana to play it right now, though. With 5 mana up, I'll flip the 5/5 and play a Connoisseur. And I think I have a big enough board state to just block Imperiosaur now, so we're just going to start chipping in with 3 power, 3/5 flyers to get past their reach creature. Hold on a second. I think I just am in a winning position now. Right? We can block this Imperiosaur with a 10/10 and a 5/4 or something like that. We just need to start flipping these incubators, and we'll attack with Connoisseurs as like 4 or 5 power vigilant creatures. Yeah, straight up, we're winning the game pretty quickly. Like, not just winning, but winning it fast. Get the biggest blockers up that I'm okay with blocking with. Alright, you can have a 2020 Imperiosaur if you want, but then you die on the crackback. You can make it as big as you want, and I'm just going to start attacking past the War Historian. And they just go for it. Alright, then we just kill them on the crackback, and that's game. They know what's up. Flip an incubator. Might as well draw a card. Drop our land, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yep. Go ham. And there it is. We are now 6-2 with this Giganta deck heading into the final boss, win or lose. This is going to be the last game of Magic for today and for the early access event as a whole. Can we give it the beautiful swan song it deserves and get our first 7-win run in the format? Let's find out as we head into the final boss. Alright, here we are for the final game of the March of the Machine early access event. We have a Kami of Whispered Hopes to ramp us up on 3, Ancient to pull another land out, and that's an even better draw. Now we have Preening Champion to get some blockers if we need them. Our opponent starts with a turn 2 Portent Tracker to help them ramp up, which is quite nice. I already have 4 lands and a 5th mana from Kami. I don't think I'm going to immediately Forest Cycle this Timberland Ancient. Alright, our opponent is setting up some mana. They're on the play, and they've got more mana ramp than us. Portent Tracker alongside the Blighted Burgeoning is a boatload of mana ramp real quickly. So they're like super setting up their mana here. That is pretty spooky. If I play Kami, I'll have 5 mana up next turn, which isn't really enough to play two things in one turn anyway. Yeah, I'll just run out the champion here and pass the turn. There's an Oracle of Tragedy, draws a card and discards a card when it hits the board and when it dies. Play a Swamp, get black, green, and white, and use Portent Tracker to untap that mana and play a Eudora Grave Gardener from the Multiverse Legends. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may return it to the battlefield face down as a forest. So now every time one of their creatures dies, they get mana ramp still? Alright, well, trade my 2/2 flyer into Finn, they get another forest. I doubt they need more forests, but they can have them. It's a fancy little face down forest. Alright. Need 5 power to block Eudora well. Eudora's probably just going to hit me for a bit. I guess I could Cleansing it. Not super efficiently right now. If I Cleansing Eudora, I'm just taking 4 damage from this, and that. Yeah, slowing them down is actually just pretty fine here. It's just a 5 mana 5/5, so in a couple turns from now, a 5 mana 5/5 is significantly less scary. So we could have our 6/5 and our Karug on board, depending on how things go. Or, I should say. And they are going to keep it, so it'll come back in 2 turns. They draw Lurrus of the Dream Den off the top. That makes sending in with Portent Tracker super possible, and they can recast Oracle from grave as well. Yeah, they could recast Oracle or Tracker or any of that stuff. So that's pretty bad for me. So we'll take 3 though. We're not taking a ton of damage at least. Draw another Timberland Ancient. Okay. So now I can just go Inga into Ancient into Ancient. Have a 6/5 to trade into the 5/5 and hold everything else at bay. That seems reasonable. Corruption of Tawashi's a good draw, as is Atris. I already have the Black Source, so I'll get rid of the Dismal Backwater. Could turn things around here. We know their next draw is not that insane. Yeah, no attacks. And here's a 6-5. This might just stop their attacks. Put them in a position where they need to draw something else to start attacking again. Invasion of Lorwyn is something else that lets them start attacking again. Does it really well. Kills our giant creature and gives them an incredible battle to flip. They flip it, they get a 6-6. Yeah, just send the whole squad at it. That's really bad for us. The tracker can keep hitting it even if I hold up blocks. They can just keep tapping the tracker to remove counters from it. Alright, well, I'm getting a 6-6 or a 7-7 is kind of a nightmare. Play the Ancient and pass the turn. Can trade into Eudora now. But they're 2 turns away from flipping the invasion just by tapping the tracker. Oh my god. So they top decked Invasion of Lorwyn into Deadly Derision. If I kill the Oracle, they can still just recast it, draw and discard again off of Luris's abilities. There's just really no point blocking any of this. All I can do is trump block to stop them from flipping, and it would still go down to 1 and die to tracker next turn. Even if I chump blocked the 5-5. Tandem Takedown is a potential out. 4, 5, 6. That is 6 damage. I can't respond to them playing a land, though. So if I play this and they top deck a land, then I can't take down the forces anymore. Which means if I want to guarantee that I can take it down, I have to cast it main phase. Which I would really rather not do. If I play Kami and I take that down main phase and I have a 3-3 and a 1-1 to block with, they just attack with a 5-5 again. Got a trade there. I guess I have to do that. Because I can't respond to them playing a land. And making that bigger. Yeah, we'll just take 5 here. Give them their draw and discard effects with their Luris. Stop some more damage. Luris Oracle of Tragedy is pretty disgusting. Discard an Aetherblade Agent, now they can just play that with Luris, yeah. That is very good, I would say. I get to flip a 5-5 and draw a card at instant speed now. With that, thanks to Kami of Whispered Hopes. Well, show me the money. Show me how you're beating a 5-5 with your 5-5. Because I get to draw a card off this anyway. Just the 3rd top deck removal 4 turns in a row. I mean, I guess they've drawn and discard now. They've looted. That's a bomb. 5/4 flyer, they draw 3, put 2 cards back on top. When that dies, it drains us for a ton of life based on the mana value of whatever's on top of their library. Alright. Well, no reach creatures here, right? How does Renata not have reach? Guess I can play a flyer to chump block, but there's no line leading to victory at this life total disparity now. Yeah, I'm just going to close it off there. Dang. Still some super close games of Magic. All of these decks were definitely capable of getting a 7-win run, and it was nice to get close. A 6-3 is still a super respectable, super powerful run. And yeah, I'm excited. The deck was a lot of fun. Going 6-3 with a Karuga deck's pretty great, because there are definitely matchups, like we lost our second round, that are pretty unwinnable. If your opponent's really aggressive and they curve out 1-mana creature, 2-mana creature, 3-mana creature, if you're just playing a deck with no cards until 3 mana value, and you're on the draw against an aggro deck like that, you're pretty much always going to lose, unless your deck is incredibly, incredibly high value in terms of individual card quality. So being able to get a 6-3 is still really respectable for a Karuga deck. You got to get in the right matchups, and we certainly did today, which was pretty fun. So everything in the deck played pretty well. Loved the battles. They were a lot of fun. All of the synergies and archetypes in this format are really cool and really fun. And it's pretty wild, pretty explosive, pretty back and forth, pretty high variance. Things flip around a lot with the amount of crazy high impact cards like Atris and Karuga, battles like Invasion of Zendikar, all that stuff. Ancient Imperiosaur being the biggest bomb in the deck. Lots of cool, fun stuff, and the format has played out absolutely wild so far. These Multiverse Legends have been super cool as well. They can really change the way your deck functions. You know, the average green-blue deck or green-blue splashing black deck in this format isn't really doing the same stuff that this Karuga deck's doing, because this deck's just being as slow as possible, playing as many big permanents as possible. I mean, that is still the general deck idea, but then also Emoti. How many times are we going to be cascading a bunch of spells? That's not a mechanic in the format, but Emoti does give us the cascade ability, so really, really cool. I love how the Multiverse Legends really shake things up, and the format's been pretty wild, some pretty crazy games. It definitely leads to some really memorable moments, so really cool stuff from March in the Machine so far, but that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons very much for supporting the channel, and thank you for watching the videos. If you're interested in seeing more of them, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you more videos in your recommended feed. If you'd like to hang out with me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.